Good morning and welcome to Cooks and Cars. Hi, I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin from Merlin Auto Group. And this morning we got a lot going on, so we want to get started right away. We got some cool guests coming up. One of them is a NFL player for the Packers. Lane Taylor is going to be joining us on the phone to talk about his big green egg, his love of cars, and his, I think it's a 72 Chevelle that he's got. He's going to talk about that as well. And then we also have Wade Williams, a master certified Ferrari technician over at Merlin Auto Group, to talk about his background, because this guy knows everything about Ferraris, Maseratis. I mean, he can work on anything.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Wade is one of those unique technicians that if he needs a special tool, he can make it himself. If he needs a special part, he can make it himself. He's been working on these cars for 30 years, and back before everything was run by computers. If he needs a special tool, he can make it himself. If he needs a special part, he can make it himself. He's been working on these cars for 30 years. That's really where Wade excels. Back before Merlin Auto, if he needs a special tool, he can make it himself. He's been with us about 3 years. A special part, he can make it himself. He's going to talk a little bit about some of the most commonly asked questions we get. Back before Merlin Auto, if he needs a special tool, have him make it himself. He's been with us about 3 years.
Especially this time of year, and that's why we're going to be bringing this up. He's going to talk about why this might be the best time to buy a car, and we'll explain reasons why and why not. And like you said, what there's especially this time of year, and that's why we're going to be bringing this up. Also, you want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube, we'll explain reasons why on the website, and cars as well. Interact time of year, and that's why we're going to be bringing this up. Also, you want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube, we'll explain reasons why on the website. And chat as well. Interact with your chat as well. Also, you want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube, or reasons why on the website and chat as well. Interact with your chat as well. Also, you want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube. I will say, I do want to talk about website and chat as well. Interact with your chat as well. Also, you want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube, I just want to talk about website and chat as well. This week I did chat as well. You want to interact with Facebook, buy a car, YouTube, I just want to talk about website and chat as well. This week I did I got to tell you, man, you want to interact with inside, car, I just want to tire, this week I did I got to tell you, man, and that's really what we did. Was we wanted to make it where it was something that you could drive, that was reliable, that was easy to, it's got Bluetooth, leather seats, powered seats,
the whole 9 yards, which really makes it enjoyable, and it makes it where it's useful as opposed to just driving it, a couple times a year. And that's kind of the balance between owning, true, pure classic cars, and then just kind of doing something that's more of like an homage to the classic car, but something you can use. So,
yeah, I got to tell you, man, I was impressed. It drives nice. I will say the only thing was a little weird inside is the way the pedals are. So it's a 5-speed, but it looks like you can have a ton of room in there, but it's pretty tight as you sit in there.
So really cool. We made the decision. We wanted it to be a manual transmission, and in today's world where everything's automatic, we're really into manual transmissions, and being in the Ferrari business, the gated manual transmission is the most exciting thing. So we just kind of take that passion into anything else we do. So we love the manual transmission, but that car was actually set up to be an automatic, and so that's why those pedals are a little they're a little tight down there, and it can definitely get dicey too. We've had some times where we were pushing on the clutch and needed to be pushing on the brake going down my driveway, and it was a bit of a scary dicey moment. So but you get used to it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm having a blast. It's a lot of fun to have, and drive around. It's pretty cool. So,
so when do I get to like borrow? What do I get to, like borrow an egg? Like you borrow cars? Like I mean, I have an egg. So like, what can I borrow from here?
Let's see. Well, we could take a stroll through the store. We talked about this before. Is that when I go to your place, it's like a kid in a candy store. When you come here, you do the same thing.
Right. The problem with your stores, I've already bought everything in
you
there.
have
so
mostly
like
everything.
So I have one of everything. So we have to figure out what it is, how we can, work that deal.
All right. So again, if you're interacting with us, you can do so on the chat by YouTube or Facebook. Send a question. I see some stuff coming in as we speak. So I want to make sure that we are getting everybody their questions in. We're waiting for our guest to line up here in a second as well. Okay. So we do have the guest. We're going to move forward and introduce our next guest, who is Lane Taylor, number 65 on the Green Bay Packers. And this guy not only plays football, but he's also a griller and a car lover as well. So he is perfect for the show called Cooks and Cars. He's also part of the BGE Team Green. Lane Taylor is one of those guys that if you talk about the food, the cars, he is all in it. And so today we're going to talk to Lane. Welcome to the program. We appreciate you coming on with us. What's that? I'm sorry, Ryan. Oh, he needs to unmute his mic. And then we can get him on because we can't.
Oh, there we go. We're good.
There you are.
How we doing?
Hey, doing well, my man. Hey, appreciate you coming on with us. And obviously, Green Bay Packers, the right guard, number 65 on the team. But this year is a little different, man. You got hurt in the first game. Talk about that and what you're doing right now in your career.
Man, yeah, it was tough. First game, I had a good training camp. Had a little bit of a, position battle where it was up for a competition and won it. And yeah, I won it. Went to the first game, feeling great. Was playing really good. Some of the best football of my life. And, unfortunately, I tore my ACL. So it was really a bummer, but, it's kind of the nature of this business.
Yeah, now you were undrafted. I think you've been in the league now 8 years, but talk about behind the scenes. You just mentioned you have to actually fight for a position. Talk about that and how you get to that point. And being undrafted, that's pretty cool to, did you not go in the draft? Did you want to go in the draft? How did that, once you left Oklahoma State?
No, all of us undrafted guys, we were definitely in the draft, but it's not by choice, obviously. But things happen when some guys fall through the cracks. I felt like I should have been like a 4th through 7th pick, but it didn't happen. But I'm kind of glad I didn't get picked by anyone. I ended up in Green Bay, a good spot. I felt like I needed a few years to develop to kind of become the football player I am. So it was really beneficial that I was behind two really good vets. Really learned how to be a pro over those first couple years, and kind of really shaped me to be the player I am today. And just you always have that mentality as an undrafted free agent. You're always battling with someone. You're always trying to prove yourself and that you belong.
We're talking to Lane Taylor, number 65, the Green Bay Packers. Talk about protecting that guy, Aaron Rodgers, man. It is really cool to see what he's doing. He's getting up there in age. I mean, how many years do you think this guy's got left in him?
Man, he turned back the clock of time this past year. He's balling, man. But he's been good. Yeah, he's obviously a Hall of Famer. It's awesome playing for him, blocking for him. But he got multiple years. He said he wants to play until his 40s, so that's at least another I think 4 years.
Now, is it odd? All right, so you're on the line, you're blocking the guys, right? Now he goes to take off because he's got no one to throw to. What at that point goes through your mind is like, all right, who's the next guy I got to go hit? Is that it?
Pretty much. It's just once it comes that time, it's just freestyle. It's like, where's Aaron? Where's a guy? Let me stay between these two, and we'll try to make something happen.
Yeah. Hey, you're also part of the BG Team Green. Talk about that, man. You're a big griller. Love your big green egg. You're always on there cooking. And what is one of your favorite things to cook on the egg?
Man, I mean, it absolutely crushes steaks. Like it's like a steak machine. Like, especially if you have a good cut of meat. Like actually, the other night I had some like Wagyu ribeye. My wife was like, "That was the best one you ever cooked." I was like, "Yes." You know, once you get the wife's check mark, you know you're doing good. So
that's right.
But you know, it's fun. I love being part of the team. I didn't even really know what to expect heading into it all, but it's actually been fun. Met so many good people, and shoot, I'm on this show right now.
I mean, and this is Adam over here. How did you get into the egg? Have you always been a bit of a chef, or were you, kind of like me, where it was like you saw this egg, you met these people, you realized it was like a lifestyle kind of thing, and you were like, hey, that's into buying gadgets and things, and you went and bought the whole setup and decided, to become an egger. How'd that come to be?
You know what? Who first originally got me on the egg, believe it or not, is Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
okay.
because every year he always gives us some kind of nicer gift, and this is when I was kind of like picking up some steam with barbecue and stuff, and then he had an egg, and I didn't care. Like I literally could show some other stuff that probably was valuable. Me, the egg was way more valuable. So I got the egg and I started grilling on it, loved it, and then before you know it, Big Green Egg reached out to me, and yeah.
Very cool. I will say that the Big Green Egg makes you look like. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you're not a good chef, but I know for me, I've had an egg for maybe 2 months now, Rob, or so.
Yeah.
I'm now. It's like really impressive the quality of the steaks that I can make. Like you said, and I think that's a testament to the egg more so than that's a testament to me.
And Lane, I want to be clear, we're not making fun of you because you are much bigger than we are. So.
Yeah. No.
No.
Hey, what are some of the other gifts you get from Aaron Rodgers? Just curious. You always hear all these rumors about these just amazing things that the linemen get from the quarterback. So what is it?
Real quick, Lane, I want to tell the story that this year it was pretty known because he did a promotion, but one of them was a different grill. It was a Traeger. And I was like, I saw your picture up there and I'm like, Lane better not have a Traeger. And now I'm going to be ticked off. But no, you got the golf clubs.
No, we're good. I got the golf clubs. Aaron, he actually told me, he's like, you have too many grills. So that's why he gave me.
Yeah, so he gave you the golf club. So what was it? It was a custom something?
Yeah, it's like a custom fitting. So he'll like have like a golf fitters come out to like the country club or something. And we'll go out there. Take some swings on the range, and they'll fit us for clubs and send them to us. So it's be pretty sick.
I want to get back to football. We're talking to Lane Taylor, number 65, right guard for the Green Bay Packers, which I used to have an old boss who was a big Green Bay guy. I couldn't stand Green Bay because everything was Green Bay, this and that. Every time we go over his house, got to watch Green Bay Packers. I'm like, and I'm a Dolphins fan, so I could care less. You know what I mean? But as a Dolphins fan, we really had nothing to cheer for since, I don't know, Marino left the team. but going back to football, a weird year, right? COVID comes around. You got all these changes. How has that affected the game and what you guys do behind the scenes?
It really affected like your day to day. And some of it, is, what could you say? Like, some of the close contact things kind of suck. You might not have COVID, but you were around somebody for longer than 15 minutes that did have COVID or got COVID after you're around them. So, that's kind of tough on the guys, but it's just really your day to day, obviously wearing a mask 24/7, partitions between each locker. You have your own towels. There's no like community towels and stuff. And so, just scheduling wise, there's kind of gymnastics after the game. There only could be I think now there only could be 10 people in the gym at once. So trying to get all 60, 70 people through it in a day presents some challenges for the staff and stuff.
So no more shenanigans in the locker rooms, huh?
No, not quite. The Saints had a good little time, and then they got fined pretty hard for it. So,
what about traveling for you guys? Are y'all still? I mean, is it the same deal on chartered airplanes and whatnot?
Yeah,
or?
Airplane thing's the same. It's just, you just have to wear a mask while you go.
And the same on the buses?
The buses, there's more buses. Like we took or last time I went, it was like, instead of like 4 buses, there was like 7 buses. Right. And then the biggest thing is you can't go anywhere once you get there. Once you get there, you go to the hotel room and like, that's it. Before you could go out in the town and, go get a nice dinner and, see downtown or whatnot. But now there's none of that's happening.
And what would you do? You go into a different city. What are some of those things you do? And there's got to be like a curfew. You have to be back at a certain time, correct?
Yeah, usually, most likely, like if you have a late game the next day, you'll have the night off. But if you have like a noon game, you'll have meetings at like 8 o'clock. So you'll get there about 3 o'clock or so, and then you just kind of text your buddies, see who wants to go out to eat. Find somewhere, nice steakhouse or something, and get together, go out to eat, and come back for meetings.
And are you allowed to eat anything you want, or is there a certain, the pregame stuff that you have to, or do you? There are rules, but nobody pays attention to them.
It's a personal preference thing. It's like whatever you want to eat before a game.
All right.
Usually the big guys, we're not too scared of eating a nice heavy steak, potatoes.
All right, we're talking. Can you find steaks out there that are better than the steaks you make on the egg?
Ooh, I'm still searching.
Listen, I got to tell you, I feel the same way. We talk about it at my house. We put a good piece of meat on that egg, and it's, it's like we can't find a restaurant that makes a better steak.
Now, do you have a favorite meat company that you use usually?
Yes, now it's Cowboy Wagyu. We just teamed up together about a week ago, and so far so good. Everything is freaking delicious.
Yeah, was that with John?
Yeah.
Did you work with John?
I'm not exactly sure the exact person.
I got you. Well, the reason I say that, I talked to some of those guys yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Working on some other stuff, but those guys are great. They got a great story behind them, and I'm glad you're involved with them. There's no doubt about that. All right. Before we head out, though, you're a car guy as well, and I think we even have some pictures of you. Is it a 72 Chevelle?
It is. 72 Chevelle. Mm-hmm.
So tell me the story behind this thing.
So I originally, when I was about 15 years old, I've always been around cars. Like my dad, he has a 66 Chevelle, and we grew up at the racetrack, drag racing. We built his car up, and he had 600-700 horsepower. And then, so I wanted a car, old school car for mine whenever I was ready to drive. And I knew I wanted a Chevelle. So we found this car. It was right on the edge of a dealership that was right on the corner of the highway. And we passed it. It looked awesome. And then, but whenever you actually drive into the dealership, the whole right side looked like they hit a guardrail along the whole car. And so we're like, okay, well, it's going to be a good project car. And so we restored it with my dad for a few years. I drove it all through college and back and forth to Oklahoma State. And my first year in the league, I had it. And then it became my summer car a little bit. And a few years ago, I decided, hey, it's time to redo it, do it right, do it how I want to do it. And yeah, so it turned out awesome. It runs great. Sounds great.
Yeah, I have a summer car too. Some of the parts are over here, some of the parts are over there.
Yep, that's usually the story.
It's bad, man. But man, that's a really cool looking car. So is that kind of a daily driver for you?
In the summertime, it is. Yeah. I like to get it out as much as possible, especially up here in Green Bay. You don't get too many nice months to really drive it around without.
Yeah, summer's like a week.
Yeah, pretty much a week and a half.
Yeah. So what else do you drive? Do you have anything else that you drive?
No, my wife, she has one. We're actually restoring a '69 Camaro for her.
Oh, nice. My favorite year.
It's going to be pretty slick. She's thinking either blue with black stripes, or she's thinking like a nice deep, like orange or something like that.
That's pretty cool that your wife's into that. My wife has never been in my favorite car, which is a '84 Ferrari 308. We've had it for since 2011. So that's what, 9 years.
She won't take a ride, or just has never been.
Never sat inside of it. Just really not her thing. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's like cars are like my life, other than her and my children, obviously. And no, but she's great. She, give her a nice car to drive that she knows how to program the radio stations, and she's pretty happy.
Oh, there we go. That's simple.
All right, man. Hey, Lane, thank you so much for joining us. Any fans out there that are watching, want to find more information on you, where can they find you online with social media or websites, all that great stuff?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Lane Taylor 65, both platforms, and I'll be there cooking up something on the Big Green Egg.
Awesome, man. And hey, when do you get back? Is that season ending from the first game, so we won't see you the rest of the season, and we'll have to catch you in 21?
Yeah, catch me in 21. I'll be ready. I'll be eager to get out there on 21.
All right, my man. Hey, thanks for joining us today on Cooks and Cars, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to be talking with Wade Williams, the master certified technician with Ferrari, Maserati, any exotic car you can think of. Right now, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. It's Cooks and Cars. Thanks for watching. There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated, where grilling traditions and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, you can grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Simple to light, easy to use, comes with a free lifetime warranty. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Shop online for home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com.
Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and over the past 12 years, we've been successful at building our business with the undying focus of taking the pain points out of what normally is a miserable process, which is buying an automobile. And it was on this mindset that about 2 years ago, we launched our service department. Because let's face it, the only thing that's potentially negative about owning these exotics or ultra luxury cars is the fact that you have to service them, is the fact that they stand the chance of possibly breaking and you don't know what's wrong. It's the fear of the unknown that we as the consumer sometimes are really nervous about before we go and buy that Ferrari, before we go and buy that Aston Martin. And that's the reason we started Merlin Auto Group Service Department. We went out and got factory-trained, certified technicians for Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche to make sure that you had somebody that you can rely on to help you manage your automotive investment and make sure that the right things were getting fixed, they were getting fixed the right way by people who knew how to fix them and were willing to take the time, answer your questions, and make sure that you were satisfied and you understood what was going on. If you're looking for a shop where you can get an appointment easily, where we'll answer the phone, where you can talk to the technician, where we genuinely care about your problem and truly want to help you solve it and be your partner in your automotive ownership experience, you need to give us a chance here at Merlin Auto Group.
Welcome back to Cooks and Cars. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin from Merlin Auto Group. And today we're talking about what is the right time of year to buy a car, because you always hear about the end of the year and is that the right time? And we're also going to be joined by Wade Williams from Merlin Auto Group to talk about things to look for when buying that new or used car, some of the things you want to look for. I want to make mention also, I got to say hi to Ron. He's out there giving us a big applause. Appreciate that. I see Lori, Gina, Jonathan. Thanks for stopping by today. If you got a question, you can do so by the chat room on Facebook or on YouTube. Send us a question. That's why this show is built for you. If you got any questions about cooking, grilling out, we can take care of that. Cars, exotic cars, new cars, used cars, it doesn't matter. We can talk about that as well. That's why the show is called Cooks and Cars. You can follow us online at CooksandCars.com, on Instagram at Cooks and Cars, on Twitter, Facebook, all that great stuff. You can follow us there as well. And Adam, I got to make mention that when looking at a car, this always seems to be the right time of year. You see all these specials coming out. You see, and here's a great question here. Is it true that the end of the year is the best time to buy a car? And that's kind of what we're talking about here today. So is this the best time of year to buy a car?
I wish I had $1 for every time somebody's asked me that question. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just, you hear all these things about the end of year is the best time. Dealers have to pay ad valorem tax on all their remaining inventory, so the prices are cheaper and stuff like that. Now that particular, theory is not true, but it is true that this is usually the best time to buy a car. The manufacturers tend to put the most incentives on new cars at this time. Dealers are contrary to what everybody believes, the margins in new cars are incredibly small.
Yeah.
And so what happens is dealers are compensated for hitting specific sales targets. And usually those targets are monthly, quarterly, or yearly. And so at the end of the year, you kind of know where you are relative to your yearly targets. So if it's December 15th and you're 150 cars away from hitting a bogey that may pay you a significant amount of money, you're going to be a lot more aggressive selling cars than you are in February when you have the rest of the year to hit that specific bogey. So, a lot of different things come into play, but that's really why. Also, in the summertime, and this year is a little different, but usually in the summertime or towards August, September is when the next model year comes out, and so all dealers, no matter what, want to get rid of the current model year cars before the end of that year, right? I mean, nobody wants to be in 2021 still trying to sell a new 2020.
Yeah.
In December of 2020, it's easier to sell a 2020 model year car and actually, try to get a little bit more money for it. So for reasons like that, the values are affected. But a lot of it really has to do with the sales volumes and targets that the dealers have. And the manufacturers like to step up at the end of the year and put more incentives on the cars.
So and he kind of answered this question. Why is it so important for a dealer to sell a ton of cars this time of year? And that kind of answers it. But is there a mark? And I know it's probably different for every market out there, but is there a mark? What is the average sell a month at a car dealership?
So it totally depends on the market that the dealers are. The manufacturers select markets and then give those dealers it's called a PMA, which is their primary marketing area, and based on that area and the size of that area, how many cars they should sell on a monthly basis. So, I mean, you have some dealers that their targets are 20 cars a month. You have some dealers that their targets are 2,000 cars a month.
Really?
So it really depends on the brands, the number of cars that those brands sell. And what market, and you'll find, I mean, if you pick, if you pick a brand and you decide you want to buy one of those, depending on the volume that the dealer sells, one dealer may be able to sell the car in a certain market for a lot less than a dealer can in a different market because of volume and, and supply and all that stuff. So, it really is important to do your due diligence nowadays with the internet. It's so easy to go out there and get information, and, and look, I mean, I tell everybody all the time, if you're one of those people that like, if you get the price at 25,000, but you could have gotten it for 24,995. And if, like you can't sleep if you put left $5 on the table, don't even buy it. Like go to like a place like CarMax where it's just fixed pricing and you don't have to negotiate, because you're going to have analysis paralysis. You're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need to pick what car you want. You need to figure out what most people are, what's a fair market value, right? And it's not about every last dollar. When you get into that every last dollar, you make it miserable for yourself. You make it miserable for the dealer. Look, at the end, I mean, if the dealer can't make any money, they're not going to be there to support you after the fact.
Yeah.
And that's what we've built our business on. And that's the most important thing when it comes to an automobile. And so, if you're fair with the dealer, it can be challenging to find dealers that are fair with you. but go for the best experience. Go to the place that they're going to take care of you if you have an issue after the fact. And if you pay $25.5 instead of paying $24,995, that $505 difference is worth it, so that when you have a problem and you come in, they're going to want to help you. They're going to want to take care of you. And this is advice I give so many clients when they're going out there buying a car. I mean, it's like the experience I have at the Egg, right? I mean, you come in here, everybody wants to help you. I mean, you guys came to my house to show me how to set up my Egg and use my Egg and all that stuff. Yep. And it's businesses like that. It's that type of mentality. That's what you want to do. I mean, when you're buying a car, it's so expensive, right? For most, and nobody knows what they're doing. Right. So find a reputable dealer that can guide you through the process. That should be the most important thing, and that they will stand behind whatever it is they're selling, and they'll be there for you. The second most important thing should be making sure you get a good price or a good value.
Yeah. And so my next question would be, and I'll go back to this because I want to talk about the Egg a little bit on that aspect and why we do certain things that we do when a customer walks in to buy an Egg. But with dealerships, is it better to go to like the big deal, like the Sonics, the Penske's, the Hendricks that have all these multiple dealers, or is it to go to the guy that has a single dealership?
Look, you'll agree with this. The team at the Egg will agree with it. It all depends on who's where. It doesn't matter if Roger Penske owns the dealership. If he has unbelievable employees there, that's a great dealership to go to. If it's a dealership that he has that, doesn't have the best team in place and they're working through trying to get better people in place, then that may not be the best place to go. So big, small stuff like that doesn't matter. Sometimes the bigger dealerships, they'll be possibly more aggressive. They can possibly give you better prices.
Is there a buying advantage on their part? At that size?
Sometimes they get additional inventory. They get more of the better stuff because they, look, at the end of the day, the manufacturers make money when the dealer buys the car, right? So the manufacturer may do things for a dealer that's buying 20,000 cars a year as opposed to a dealer that's buying 200 cars a year, right? The flip side of that coin is if you go to a dealership that's selling 40 cars a month, you go in there and buy a car. Like, they probably remember every single person that came in and bought a car that year. So if you want that higher touch, higher feel type of a situation, then that's probably a better place to go. But the most important thing nowadays, you can look online and see if there's a dealership that's taking advantage of clients, that doesn't stand behind what it is that they say, that has a bad reputation. I don't care what they would sell the car for. I wouldn't buy anything there. I mean, I wouldn't go in there and buy a soda out of the soda machine. It's probably expired. It's probably, they probably bought like fake, right? Yeah. I mean,
it's gonna explode.
People that take advantage, right? And when you're making a purchase like this, I mean, life's too short, right? I mean, especially now with everything going on. I mean, just the whole world, like go somewhere where, it's fun. A car should be fun. I don't care if you're buying your everyday car or if you're buying a toy car. You don't buy cars all the time. It should be a fun process. It should be a fun thing to do. You should be excited. And so, do the reviews on the dealership and then, most importantly, find the car you want. And then just as long as you get a fair price, that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be every last dollar.
Hey, and I want to go back. You were talking about the Egg and why we do certain things. And one of those things is we have a program that we train each individual employee at, and we don't do any big box store stuff. So that's one of the things we don't do. And we make sure that the customer experience is good. We want those customers to come back and buy some of the accessories and remember where they can get their charcoal every week, that kind of thing. So it's one of those touch points when they come in, they want somebody that's, I say behind the counter, but there's really no counter when you walk into a grill store. But, you're walking around and the guy's knowledgeable or the woman's knowledgeable because they have one at home. And they're cooking on it. And that's part of the program we put in behind the scenes to make sure.
Look, I have a very dear friend that has a great saying that says, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire an amateur.
Yeah.
Right. And look, I mean, that's a great philosophy in everything that you do. I know nothing about the Big Green Egg. I don't know how to cook it. I don't know how to, I mean, I knew absolutely zero. I didn't know how to light charcoal, and the only reason I got into it was because of the way you guys handle the situation, the way first of all, y'all are all passionate and excited about it. So you get into it and you're like, oh, I could do this. This is cool. And this will be fun and blah, blah, blah. And during COVID, it's a great activity, right? Who cares if it takes an extra hour to cook your dinner? Like, you're sitting there stuck in your house. What else are you going to do? Right. Yeah. And it's something that the family can do. And, and it's that enthusiasm and the lifestyle of it and the experience that makes it so great. And look, one of the reasons why the Big Green Egg is so successful is because of the customer experience. If you go online and try to look at anybody talking negative about the Big Green Egg, it's just not out there. And that's not because you guys aren't paying somebody a bunch of money to hide all the bad reviews. It's because you really do care about making it happy. What other kind of product has a guarantee for life?
Yeah.
It's stuff like that that's so important. And it really should be the same thing when it comes to buying your car, especially, the business we're in where it's exotics and classic Ferraris and stuff like that. It's a lifestyle, we don't sell anything that anybody needs. So unless they're having fun, unless they enjoy it, unless they're buying something that they really want, there's no point in being there. Right. So, again, it should be fun. It should be exciting. And, everybody, when they go to buy a car, they come in with, their boxing gloves on and,
yes.
a helmet on, and they're primed and ready for a fight.
I don't need the undercoating.
Yeah, right. No, right. I'm not buying anything today. So just, I probably, and I'm not going to buy unless you give me your best price.
I've totally been that guy. I swear.
Listen, I could, and look, and I try to tell the people that, my team that we work with, it's like, look, we negotiate every single day, right? Yeah. These people, they want to negotiate. They don't know how to negotiate, right? So they look online. What am I supposed to do? How do I negotiate? Blah, blah, blah. And it's funny, inevitably, the experience, the deals, the everything about it from beginning to end. It's so much better when you treat us like we're professional. We treat you like that you're professional. We give you all the information that you want and, or that you need, or that we feel like you need. When you leave Merlin, our philosophy is you're going to know everything we know about the car. We can discuss the market, we can discuss values, we can discuss the cars that you think are more expensive and less expensive and why. But most importantly, we're going to explain to you why our price is our price. And if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Yeah. And it takes a lot, it takes a lot of that boxing match out of it, which can be fun at times. I'm a negotiator, and I like a deal.
That's part of the game for you, man.
Look, that is the whole thing for me, right? Like I love the deals, I love the value. I love finding things, I love the needle in the haystack, but.
All right. Well, we're talking to Adam Merlin from Merlin Auto Group. I'm Rob D'Amico. We want to bring in our next guest who actually works at Merlin Auto Group, and it's Wade Williams, who is a master mechanic over there. He's a technician. Sorry, that's right. He's a certified technician with Ferrari, Maserati. He's been in the business for over 30 years. This guy knows his stuff, and we want to welcome in Wade Williams to Cooks and Cars. So, Wade, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time. And so Ryan,
wait, you there?
Wade, if you can see us, turn your phone sideways, your cameras, and unmute your mic. There you go. Now we see you. And then unmute your mic there, and we'll get you on there. I can see his. So right now,
it's a good thing he's better at working on cars than technology.
All right, how about that?
There you go.
Hey,
hey Wade. What's going on, my man? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm actually sitting in a parking lot because I just had to go look at a used car that was a potential purchase. So kind of fits what we were doing today.
Absolutely.
Oh, so what kind of car?
It was a 2014 Mercedes.
Awesome.
Convertible.
Now for you,
who's buying that?
I have a cousin of mine who's sitting here, Daphne. She's been looking for this black convertible Mercedes that she's wanted for a while, and she found one, and she's in town. So she said, "Let's go look at it." And I go look at it, and it looked really, really good. But what you were saying earlier about pick somebody that you can trust and all that. So we have an address, and we're literally meeting in the parking lot, and the guy just drives up in a parking lot, and there's no business, there's no dealer, he's just a guy. And so yeah, it was a really, really nice car. Didn't have any leaks, ran good, and we just walked away because it just seemed a little odd. So
now, let me ask you this question. Did you, when you came to Merlin Auto Group, it certainly has been a different experience than you had at your previous place where all you did was work on Ferraris. Did you happen to tell your cousin that the one time we asked you to look at a Mercedes, you actually pulled the wrong Mercedes in because you didn't know the difference between a E-Class and an S-Class, and you saw black Mercedes on the ticket, and you just the first black Mercedes you saw, you pulled in. And so not to suggest that you don't know if it was leaking oil or to assess this one, but I just find it ironic that that's what you were looking at today, Mr. Williams.
well, I might not have mentioned to her that I didn't know the difference in just about any Mercedes because, you know, in my opinion, a car is a car, and if it leaks, it leaks. If it drives, it drives. So, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I'm sure she's sitting here now thinking, what the heck am I doing with this guy? Because he doesn't know anything about Mercedes. But no, I did not mention to her that. So she may not ask me to look at the next one.
So Wade, I want to ask you a couple questions. We were talking about this time of year, buying the right car, buying a used car, buying a new car. So when we walk into that dealership, what should we be looking for, especially with a used car, if we're going that route like you were just doing today?
Well, when you walk into the dealership, you hope that the dealership did the due diligence before you got there. And I'm sure Adam will tell you this, just about every dealership is going to have the Carfax and most of the information. If you're lucky, they'll have some history on the car. So you want to know as much about the car as you can possibly find out. This particular car had a really nice Carfax, and had a one owner. So we knew the history going back. It had been serviced quite a lot. So if you're not mechanically inclined and you're not looking at the car mechanically yourself and you're not doing any of that, you just want to do research. And if you do your research and you are at a reputable dealer and you trust the dealer, then you just have to make sure you're buying the car that you want.
Let me ask you this, because I mean, when I go out and buy something, you always, like to offer the opportunity to come with me and, do a pre-purchase inspection. But, typical me, I go out and buy it, then bring it in, and you're doing the inspection after we buy the car, which is probably not the best strategy. But since we practice the same thing we preach, which is we only buy from people that are reputable. When we have an issue, they stand behind it and it gets rectified as well. But, when you're looking at like say a 2000 Ferrari that I go out and buy versus looking at a 2015 Mercedes for your cousin, are there different things? Is that a totally different process, or is it like you said, a car's a car, drives oil, this, that, the other? Like how different is that when you're looking at the the exotics that we deal with every day, and then just the everyday car?
Well, for me, because I know Ferraris really, really well, it is different. But when I'm looking at cars that I'm not familiar with, like the Mercedes, the first thing I did when I opened the door is I actually looked at the seats, because I want to see how much wear and tear there is on the seats. And then I want to look in places where people try not to clean up the car. I want to look under the seats, actually look under the floor mats, look up under the dash, in the console area, open up the little cubby holes and look at the edges of it. And this particular car actually showed there was, crumbs and dirt and dust, and, the car had been lived in and somebody had enjoyed it. So for me, I try to look at things that they didn't clean up or wipe away or couldn't erase for whatever the history was or anything like that. And with, it is different because with a Ferrari, I know those cars. I work on those cars. I know what they're going to need or what to look for. And in general cars, Mercedes and other things like that, you just have to go and look in areas that make you think you're going to find something that's going to be that they're trying to hide from you, really, is what I'm looking for.
So real quick, when you looked under the seat, what are some of the most interesting things you have found?
I found a business card one time, and this was some lady's name on the front of the business card. On the back of it, in lipstick, there was a nice pair of lips, and it said, give me a call later. It was nice meeting you. And I actually Googled the lady's name, and this card was from like 1994. It had been under the seat of this car for a long time.
Wow.
So I'm sure the guy's probably thinking, what happened to that card? That lady was so cool.
No, I think Wade brings up a very interesting point. Everybody wants to take their car to a mechanic, their mechanic, whatever. If you have a Mercedes and you've been servicing your car to a Mercedes mechanic or technician, for however many years, and then you go and you buy a car that's a completely different make or model or brand, but you want to take it to that Mercedes mechanic, how valuable is that? And one thing I've learned from Wade and just in buying and selling so many cars is that, all these cars, they all have nuances, even the new cars, they all have the typical things that go wrong with them. If you're buying a specific, Ferrari 355 model, for example, what are the 10 things that are specific to that car that are really the gotcha type items that are big items, and the 2014 Mercedes convertible that, Wade was looking at today, I guarantee you there's a handful of like known issues, whether it's the convertible top, the pump, the hydraulics, there's always something very specific. And you can find some of that stuff out, just by Googling it, and look, I mean, somebody like Wade that has mechanical sophistication versus somebody like me that has zero mechanical sophistication, he's certainly more qualified to look at any type of car. But, it's so important, in my opinion, when you're buying a car, no matter what it is, yes, have it looked at by somebody that knows what they're doing. But, there is a lot of value in somebody that specializes in that car. I mean, you're not going to have a podiatrist do your open heart surgery, right? I mean, there's reasons why people specialize in certain things. And so, I think that's a good point that Wade makes. Wade helping his cousin, it's certainly better than nobody, but there's probably some Mercedes technician that may even add more value than Wade.
Right.
Hey, Wade, before we head out here, we're taking a look at some of the cars that are in the garage right now over at Merlin Auto Group, and you have that Lamborghini sitting there that you tore the motor out of that thing, and it looks incredible. Like when I walk in there and see that thing, taken out, and you have another Ferrari that you've taken out the engine. Now, most newer Ferraris, you don't have to do that when doing the timing chains and belts and all that stuff. Talk about what you're doing to that Lamborghini.
Well, that Lamborghini, it's the last of the Countach models. It's the one that for me, you had the poster on the wall, and it was one of the iconic cars on the poster. And I remember for me, I wanted to show up at my high school 20 years later in that car, because you could pull up in front of the high school, and then there was a road 90 degrees, and you go ripping out of there. So we had a customer bring it in, and wanted to just look it over and make sure it ran right, and it ran really, really poorly. So there is, again, going back to the people that know these things, I called a guy that is a Lamborghini guru in Ohio, and he was very forthcoming and said, this is what you need to look at. This is what you need to check on. That car has the same systems as like a Ferrari Boxer. So what I was telling him I was experiencing was the exact same thing we experienced with the Boxer. So we have to pull the car out, pull the engine out to, number one, fix the clutch, because you can't get to it without pulling the engine out. And then the entire fuel system has to be gone through, because it just doesn't run well. And the older cars, as they get older, things get in them, they get dirt, they get trash, they get rust, and you literally just have to start at the fuel tank, because if you clean one component, put it back together, it's just going to get something out of the fuel tank and throw it back in there. So that car is going to get a lot of service. And I think one of the interesting things is he comes in, he goes, I only want to spend this much money. I got the car right, and I'm really not going to drive it that much. I love the way it looks. It's beautiful. And it was. The car was spectacular. It was clean. And I said, well, if you want it to run, it's going to cost like 3 times your X. And he was like, well, I don't really want to spend that. And at the end of the day, I said, great, we'll put it on a record. You can shove it into the garage. So, he's spending 3 times the X because he wants the car to work. And I tell him straight up, if I have to do it, I'm going to do it. If I can get away without doing it, then you're not going to have to pay for it. But I think that's one of the reasons people come to us, is because I'm going to be brutally honest with what your car needs and what it's going to cost you. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, we can make it work for X. I told him, no, load it on a truck, take it back to the garage. Isn't going to happen.
And that car's a really good example because it's a very low mileage example. And if you look at it cosmetically in the interior, I mean, the car is in spectacular condition, but it sits. I mean, that's what that car's done the majority of its life. It's sat. And even when a car sits, there's a lot of preventative maintenance that you need to do so that when you want to drive it 250 miles a year, that you can start it up and drive it. And failure to do that results in situations like this, where you got to go through and basically catch up 20 years worth of deferred maintenance or neglected maintenance. And and that's those are the big gotchas that happen when you buy these types of cars. There's a reason why cars have scheduled maintenance, right? And there's a reason why it's time-based or mileage based.
Yeah.
Because sitting is often worse for the car than actually using the car. And so there's items that, that have to be addressed over time. And, look, I mean, again, a lesson we learned, the hard way. But it really brings up a good point, Now, the good news is when you're buying an 89 25th anniversary Countach that might be one of the finest examples out there, whether he spent X on his service or 3 times X, if he plans to keep the car, he'll recoup all of his money.
Oh,
I mean, that is an appreciating asset, So as opposed to, pouring, a ton of money into your 2014 Mercedes convertible that's going to go down in value every day, that's money that just adds to your cost of operation.
Yeah.
This adds to your cost of ownership as well, but you also have an upticking appreciation cycle, which is nice.
Hey, Wade, real quick before we head out here, I'm looking at your sweatshirt there, and you dig racing. You've been in racing. You've loved racing. You've worked on race cars. Have you done anything lately? And what is some of your favorite forms of racing?
I haven't raced in years. We sold all of our race cars. I miss it terribly. If I had an opportunity to go drive a race car tomorrow, I would be gone. And if I had an opportunity to drive a race car on Monday and Tuesday, I would just have to call Adam and tell him I am terribly sick. I can't show up for work. And I'm going to show up Wednesday with, dirt in my hair and a smile on my face. I love dirt car racing. I like sprint cars. I like road racing. I like all kinds of racing. If I could race popsicle sticks down the drain when it rained, I would be doing that, whatever, just to get there first.
What's that, Wade? Is that a sneeze I just heard? You coughing?
It's not the COVID, but I'll be there Wednesday.
All right, my man. Hey, we appreciate you coming on with us. I'm not sure Adam appreciated that one, but I did. I thought it was pretty good.
Well,
all right,
Wade talks a big game, but Wade knows the easiest way to get fired at Merlin Auto Group is to tell one lie.
That I will say that is an absolute fact, and I haven't had to lie to him at all. So that's been great. It's been a wonderful thing. And in all honesty, if I called him and said, "Hey, listen, I got a buddy of mine that wants me to drive a race car in Indiana on Tuesday, and I got to leave Monday morning, and I'll be there on Wednesday," and he'll go, "Okay,
awesome. I'll
see you Wednesday."
That's right.
And it would work out that way. But it's a relationship that we have, and I love working there. It's been a dream job and an opportunity of a lifetime, and I got to thank Adam for giving me that opportunity. And it makes my life a lot happier. I can guarantee you that. And I know I like interacting with the customers. And that's one of the things that I haven't really had the opportunity to do previously. And I appreciate it. It's cool.
Yeah. And I can tell you firsthand, I've seen you make things like you needed something. You literally took metal and you made it. And I thought that was pretty impressive, man. I thought that was really neat. And you're one of the best out there. There's no doubt about that. And Adam's here. Pretty lucky to have you. All right, Wade, thank you very much. Back to car shopping. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All
Talk
right.
to you later.
All right. We'll see you, man.
See ya.
So more information on where they can get Merlin information, just go to your website.
Yeah. MerlinAutoGroup.com or on Facebook, Merlin Auto Group, or on Instagram. call us, send us emails. We do appreciate the emails we get during the week from people who are watching about the questions and stuff you want us to entertain on the show. The whole end of the year question was something that came over during the week, and that was kind of why we decided to talk about that. We encourage Big Green Egg questions too, which we got up there, Rob. So I'll ask you that. Does the cold weather affect the temp when using a Big Green Egg?
So the answer is no, it does not. So with the fire, the oxygen, if it's got all that, those are the components. You put the fuel in, which is the charcoal, you light it, it all lights the same. What does affect it is the coldness outside of the ceramics. But inside there's not an issue. It's so well insulated that it's going to start up and it's going to be ready to go and temp. What it does affect is it also cools the outside a little bit. If it's really cold out, like I think we woke up this morning in 29 degrees of weather, had a little ice on some of the windshields, and I saw some frost in different places, and other places are buried in snow up in the Northeast up there. And we've seen guys that'll go out there and light the egg, and the outside, once it starts to warm up, the snow will actually melt from around it, and it's a perfect circle around the egg, which is really cool to see. And a lot of guys, they dig a path out to walk out to it. And if you follow some of the guys on the BG Team Green, you can see some of our Canadian friends up there. And they got some of the greatest pictures with snow on the egg and ice and all this stuff. The only thing, and we brought it up on last week's show with the cold weather, is that you do have to pay attention. If the gasket is a little moist or gets wet from the snow and then it freezes, it can freeze the dome to the base. So to alleviate that, you could put some tin foil in there, some parchment paper just to break that seal pretty easy. Or if it is already frozen, open up the draft door at the bottom, put a piece of paper towel in there, and you can light that, and just it heats up enough that it'll loosen that up and you can get that out.
So when you open the egg, like when you're cooking something on the egg and you open it up and it's hot outside, when you open the egg, your temperature drops and then it comes back, right? So when it's cold air that comes in while you have it open, or warm air,
it'll drop, like you normally do. Like if you open it, you're letting a lot of heat out. It's like opening your oven. You open the oven, all the heat comes out, and you close it, but it's back up to temp pretty damn quick. I mean, it is very efficient and impressive when it comes to that. But that's one of those things. And I think our producer Ryan said we have another question here, and it says, so Dan Richards wants to know the best way to do a prime rib on the egg. And that's one of those big holiday meals right now. And I'm one of those guys. You probably want to cook that a little bit lower temp, 275, 300, maybe 325. You can go up to that, but it's going to take you a few hours to do so. But you're going to cook it indirect, which means you have to have your convector in there. So you have your charcoal in your fire bowl down at the bottom, your firebox. And then you have the convector, which blocks the heat, and then the heat rises, so the air comes in and goes around the meat, and you want to do it that way. And that is phenomenal. It's one of the best things you can do with on the egg is that prime rib, and you buy a great piece of meat. And you want to, a lot of people do they cut some of the meat and stick some garlic cloves in there. I'm not one of those guys. I am Italian, but I do not like a lot of garlic. What I like to do is mostly salt and pepper. And if you got a good piece of meat, that's all you're going to need to do to season this thing. So that's one of those things that I like to see. I will do a little bit of what I like to call a butter bath. I'll melt some butter and then glaze the outside of the meat with the butter. Just to give it, just a little bit of butter bath. You can also do that in a cast iron to burn up the butter, or brown the butter, they call it. And then put that on there. And if you really want to get fun with it, you can take a rosemary, a sprig, and dunk it in the butter and do it with that. And you got to get that rosemary flavor in there as well, which is really good. So check that out over this weekend. And we have also coming up on the Big Green Egg website, biggreenegg.com, we have a beef Wellington. Liz, our chef in our culinary center, put the video together with that, and that thing was spectacular. It's really good.
Everything I've eaten that she has created here has been absolutely off the chart. It's one of the challenges of working close to here is every time you come by, you walk in, they're cooking something, and it's unbelievable.
I will say it is a ton of fun working at the Big Green Egg because we do cook a lot here, and we're never going hungry, and we're always testing new things and having some fun. So that's always good. Steve, looks like Guzman. What can you tell me about the BGE 2XL? I can tell you the thing is huge.
Is that what I have?
No, you have an XL.
Oh.
So there's another size bigger, and I literally call it like the rolling hot tub. If you would take off the dome, it's that big. It's huge. But I will say this, with the new fire bowl that we have in there, you can separate. It has a little separator in there that you can do half the charcoal on one side, so you can do direct and indirect cooked on that. It's big enough you could put a whole suckling pig on the thing. Actually, I've seen 2 suckling pigs on the 2XL, which is really big. But you can, a lot of guys use it for catering, or you have the guy in the backyard that has to have the biggest and baddest thing, you know, one of those guys. He'll get one of those. Yeah, I know. He'll have that on his back porch, but it's really unnecessary unless you're cooking a lot and for a lot of people. And that's why a lot of catering people usually have that. You'll see that at the back of restaurants sometimes. But that's one of those things with the 2XL is that, and right now it doesn't have, with the XL and the large have currently is the expander, so you can do the multiple levels. That one does not have that yet, but I'm sure it's coming where you can fit that much more a product, meat, whatever you're cooking in that dome.
If Aaron Rodgers really appreciated the work of his linemen, he'd have bought them all 2 XLs instead of just the XL. But
I remember when he did that.
I did notice we're laying he's got the whole setup, the nice table, he's got the top of the line of everything.
Yeah,
so
he did.
Aaron
He did it
obviously
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I know Matt Ryan did that with some of his guys with the Falcons. I think somebody, I don't think it was Brady, but somebody up in New England did the same thing. And I think one of the Bengals did that as well. I think it was the entire defensive line. It might have been in the offensive line, but they bought eggs for those guys for the holidays.
We need to get in on like these like buying everybody a car. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why they don't buy these guys Ferraris.
That's right.
I mean, of course, none of them can fit inside. I guess that's part of the problem. But
I was going to ask Lane that if hey, you don't have a Ferrari because you're one of the linemen kind of guy. You know, he's a bigger dude, man.
Right.
Trying to squeeze himself in one of those is not the easiest thing to do in the world, but
no, but it makes a great gift.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely makes a great gift.
And if you're looking for one of those gifts, you go to biggreenegg.com or you can call Merlin Auto Group.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Again, if you're looking for more information, you go to biggreenegg.com, and we were talking about it earlier. We also have a shop.biggreenegg.com where you can go and buy, I think right now available is a large egg in the new integrated nest, and you can have that white glove delivered to your house, set up like you were talking about. Somebody comes out there and they literally show you everything you need to do and what the process is and kind of get you started. It's really cool that service is available, and you can go online and find that. And again, you can find us at our website, CooksandCars.com. You can find me at Rob D'Amico. It's ROBDAMICO on Instagram, Twitter, all that great stuff, and Facebook. But follow along with us. We loved having the guests, the questions today were outstanding. We'll hope to get a lot more during the week, and we'll figure out what we're going to be talking about for next week as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. We appreciate you tuning in. And again, please send those questions. We enjoy answering them, and we're doing this for you. So the more feedback we get, the better.
For Adam Merlin, I'm Rob D'Amico. Thank you for watching Cooks and Cars today. We'll see you next weekend.